Hello and welcome, everybody. It is Coach Action Jackson, and this is another episode of Action Jackson Fitness Client Success Stories. I'm here with my superstar Hall of Fame client, Ben Davis. Ben absolutely crushed the program. He did such a fantastic and amazing, awesome job. I wanted to have him on to share his story. Ben, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Coach. Great being here.
Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell people who you are.
You bet. My name is Ben Davis. Live in Chicago. Started the program about months or so ago. Had the tonal for about a year, which is how I came to know you. Pretty regular user of the tonal. Making good incremental progress on the strength score, things like that, and got to a point where that felt good, but it just wasn't quite getting me to where I wanted to be, especially as it relates to just body composition. And was finding that, as has been true in the past, working out was more of an excuse to do worse on the diet side of things than it was to do better, more generally across my health. And I just got to a point where I knew I needed something else, something a little bit more comprehensive. And that's what brought me to you.
Wow, that's so fascinating. So you have the tonal, you're working out regularly, you're not seeing the changes that you want to see, but you said something there that seems a bit counterintuitive. You said that the working out was an excuse to eat worse. Talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's not a conscious thing, but it's more an in the moment justification that cupcake, that's okay because I worked out this morning, and not caring about what I eat at all this weekend, that's okay because I worked out 2 or 3 times, got my strength score up on the tonal this week. And it's BS if you actually, run it through the cognitive part of your brain. But if you don't, it just becomes part of the habit. And it is counterintuitive, especially, sitting where I am today versus where I was back then. Part of it is also sort of driven by the sense of just not knowing what to do, especially on the diet front, where I tried Atkins, I tried this, I tried that. I was always a person sort of tending toward the extreme dietary spectrum to accomplish a thing. Of course, none of that was really that sustainable. It was easier to sort of fall back on this. Well, if I just work out a lot, that'll cover it, and then I don't need to worry about the dietary side of it. That's sort of how I got there.
That's fascinating. So I hear that occasionally, not like all the time, but occasionally. And what's interesting about that is that if you think about it from a math equation standpoint, and I love the example of using a cupcake because I do like cupcakes, but a cupcake, especially like a sprinkles cupcake, is like 400 to 500 calories. And I can eat one of those in about 30 seconds. But in order to burn 400 or 500 calories, I have to work out like pretty hard for like 45 minutes. Like pretty hard, I have to work out, like not just goofing around. So the math equation there just doesn't work.
And I'm an accountant. So, I had to kid myself in a lot of ways to behave that way and to have that sort of mindset. Part of the genius of the program, I think, is forcing you to deal with the math. You cannot escape the math. And the simplicity of the math. You must eat less than you burn. It's actually really simple, but you have to know, one, you have to have the knowledge, and two, you have to face the math. That's the reality. And the beauty of that simplicity is what ultimately makes it work and makes it habitual and makes it not so constraining, I think, as a lot of other diets are. This is not a keto diet. This is not an Atkins diet than I was typically used to eating in the past. But generally, I can eat what I want as long as I counter it in some other way throughout the week and keep the total where it needs to be. Ultimately, the flexibility of understanding that dynamic has been what's made it feel more sustainable than any other, diet.
Absolutely. So the key thing you said there is using a strategy to get the end result that you want, that you can actually maintain for the rest of your life. And so many people, including yourself, right, previously, try to use an extreme diet or extreme method, whether it's keto or doing just paleo or like carnivore or whatever the trendy fad diet is of the day. They try to use these things as a mechanism to get to the result, and then they could stop. And it's like, that's not going to work, because as soon as you stop doing that thing, then you're going to gain all the weight back, usually, and then some, which is terrible. It's a tragedy, really. So you get suckered into doing these diets, and then you gain it all back. What we're teaching is a sustainable solution that you can use for the rest of your life. It's not be on this diet for 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks. It's here's how you're going to eat for the rest of your life if you want to achieve a result and maintain it. Well, tell me, so you're in this state where you're kind of like BSing yourself, but you kind of know you're BSing yourself. You're working out, so you are getting stronger. You are getting health benefits from working out, but you're not combining it with the diet. What was the thing? Was there a moment, a breakthrough? What was the insight that told you, like the aha moment was like, I have to do something about this?
Yeah, it was funny. I we did a family trip to Disney World this year, and this was, I think, back in early April of this year, and I came back, and it was just a week of unfettered gluttony, and I felt both very fat and very poor, and I said, I'm going to fix one of these, and I just, I'd hit my sort of max weight on the scale. I wasn't feeling good, and I'd read your book on the flight home. I think it was in the book, somewhere you said something to the effect of, you got to stop looking in the mirror and saying, you're doing all right. You're a 40-something-year-old dad. That's how 40-something-year-old dads look. You have to stop doing that. You have to stop accepting it and admit to yourself that you can do better. You should do better. And that conversation and actually signing on the dotted line and getting going was a lot of self-counseling. And one trick I used, I just started telling my friends I was going to do it, so I'd feel like a complete asshole if I didn't. So the more people I told, about meeting you and talking to you and what the program entailed and what the goals were and all that, the more I just was building up that commitment. And again, in hindsight, it seems ridiculous. Like, not only why did it take me that long then, but why wasn't I doing this years ago? But it wasn't so long ago that I don't remember, I can remember that wall that was there, that was sort of hard to break through, of you're going to have to commit to this. It's not going to be a 4-month commitment or a 10-month commitment. It's a commitment for much, much longer than that. And that's what made it seem really big, even though, it's sort of, it's initially it's the 4-month program, but it's really a lot more than that. And so that was sort of what I was trying to get over, is this is bigger. And that's how I got there.
Wow, what an incredible journey and story. I love it. So you had this reality check where you kind of checked yourself, and then you're like, okay, I need to do something about this. I know I need to. So you start telling your friends, and that kind of builds a little bit of momentum in the positive direction of like you eventually signing up with me. But also, and I see this all the time, it's making the commitment of actually, I'm going to do this. So many people spend years, sometimes even a lifetime, going through this kind of back and forth, never really deciding. And that can take a long time for people. It obviously took a little bit for you, but you figured it out and you made the decision, and you did it a lot earlier than other people. There's an old saying that the best time to make a change was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. So you obviously made the decision. You got incredible results. And I'm so glad that you did, because so many people do waste so much time. I wanted to start coaching. I wanted to start training people. I wanted to start trying to make a difference in other people's lives and showing people all the amazing, incredible benefits that fitness, exercise, nutrition, all these things have made in my life. And it took me years and years and years and years to get to the point that I finally quit my job and then started. I mean, I literally was a software architect for like 7 years. even though I knew that wasn't sort of my calling in life. And I did it for like 7 years, just trying to convince myself to do it. It took me that long to make that shift and to make the commitment and then to take action. So I commend you for taking action, and you figured it out. You did it. And here you are today. And you're right about one thing. It's not 16 weeks. It is a lifelong commitment, not a lifelong commitment to, I have to eat chicken and broccoli every day for the rest of my life, or I can never have a cookie again, or I have to work out every day for the rest of my life. No, it's a commitment to holding yourself to a minimum level of standards that you want to live up to because it makes your life better.
Right.
Right. Because it makes your life better. So
another, you said along the way that really stuck with me is, higher ceiling, higher floor. There will be periods I'll go through, for sure, where I won't be as strict. I'll miss some workouts, maybe not do as well on the food. But that will be followed by knowing how to recover and recovering back to where I want to be, and never going all the way back to where I was. Certainly from a mindset standpoint, I don't have an excuse anymore to say I have to be the way I was. I know I don't. I used to, especially as it relates to food, I used to think I was controlled by the food. I used to believe I was a compulsive eater, that if the food was in the pantry, if my wife brought the snacks, they were going to get eaten. It was not a bit of my psyche that I had control over. And that was sort of how I was raised. My parents were not healthy eaters, and there's diabetes in the family now as a result. And like I've seen it. I realized, I think probably for me, the most powerful outcome of the program was understanding that I control those compulsions. It's not the other way around. They are actually gone. I can walk into the pantry now and not grab for the bag of chips. I don't feel it. It's gone. And that's what's made it feel, so sustainable. It's easy again.
Wow. How did you break that habit? So obviously family history, habit, all of these things are what created it. But how did you break the shackles of that habit? Because so many people think that it's impossible. And obviously you're living proof here that it's not impossible. You can do it.
The simple answer is I followed the program. I didn't set out to break that psyche. I figured it would always be there. I would just I'd have these set rules I could follow. And if I just followed the rules for the rest of my life, that would be okay. But it was always going to be hard. And, the pantry would always be calling. And I would just have to always fight that urge. It was a surprise to me, honestly. I didn't expect that, whatever it was, 2 months into the program, I just wasn't feeling it anymore. And, the adrenaline, the dopamine comes from other things now. It comes from the workout. It comes from, seeing the incremental progress week over week. It comes from the compliments, which I don't consider myself to be an overly vain person, but it absolutely feels great when you see people you haven't seen in a while tell you how good you're doing, and wow, what are you doing? How are you doing that? And as I've told many of those people when they ask, what do you weigh now? I actually have no conscious memory of being this weight. I obviously was at some point, but I'm below the college weight. I'm below any realistic, in my own mind at the time, goal that I would have set for myself when I started the program. And so what's achievable, that mindset, along with what compulsions are really truly compulsions and which ones aren't, that has completely shifted.
Wow. That is just mind-blowing. That's incredible. That makes me think of this concept called generational health. So many people talk about generational wealth, and what you're doing here is generational health, right? You're getting your health in order to live a long, happy, healthy life, and you're having an impact on the people around you, right? You have this impact on the people around you. You picked up these habits to eat whatever in the pantry and to have this mindset from somebody, most likely parents, family members. Mm-hmm. Now you're shifting that in such a more positive direction. And wow, the impact that you're now going to have on people's is going to be incredible, right? It's going to be absolutely incredible. So I'll share the results, and the results again are absolutely mind-blowing. You just blew away anything, like even what you said, what you would have expected for yourself, because it's just about, you start getting progress, you start building wins, they start stacking, the momentum builds, and next thing you know, you've lost 29 pounds, you've lost 9% body fat, 7.25 inches off your waist, 4.25 inches off your hips, and your strength score went up 130 points. Boom. Amazing. All in 16 weeks, mind you, which is even crazier. Like, we're not talking about a year transformation. This happened in 16 weeks. You've done this. And then what you said about breaking the habit of like having to snack and eat and do all these things, understanding the math equation around food, changing your mindset shift around food, all of those things are just absolutely amazing, incredible. I'm so proud of you, Ben, for all the hard work that you put in. I want to make sure I acknowledge that, because it matters. This journey that you're on, what you've done, it matters to you. It matters to me. It matters to obviously everybody in the community. It matters to your family. It matters to your friends. It matters to your coworkers. Everybody you interact with, it matters to, because you are now, you're a different person. You are.
Yeah, I've definitely felt that, and it's I never would have ever thought of myself as potentially being an inspiration as it relates to physical fitness to anyone. And as you know, I play ultimate frisbee. It's sort of my, outside of family and work, it's sort of probably my biggest hobby and time dedication. And I had gotten to a point where it just felt like I wasn't really able to contribute on the field the way I had been in my younger years. And just played a tournament this last weekend, and the amount of compliment, not just like, hey, you look thinner, but wow, I have not seen you run like that, play like that, cut like that, put out as much sustained energy in this heat ever on the field. And just got an email today from one of my teammates saying, what are you doing? I want to know. That feels incredible. That's not something I would have ever imagined as an outcome.
Man, I'm getting goosebumps over here. Holy cow, that is so awesome. I'm telling you, I'm so proud of you and all the hard work you put in. And what you're saying here is, I just wish more people would listen and hear that they have this potential in them. They could be so much better. All they have to do is make the decision, take action, and execute, and find a plan or a mentor or a coach. Doesn't have to be me, but find a resource and something you can break through these barriers, these shackles, all these limiting beliefs that you have of like, I can't lose weight, or it's never worked in the past for me, or I can't add muscle because I'm 40 or I'm 50 or I'm 60. You can do it. You can be better than where you are today. All you have to do is make that decision, commit, find a strategy that's going to work, and execute. And you're an example of that. And now you're performing better than you ever have on the field, which is awesome. Obviously, the energy's up. Your confidence sounds like it's up. You're getting compliments. Those are all amazing things. So it's bleeding into all these other areas of your life. And you're sitting here saying that there's somebody who you felt like was a superior to you in many different ways, and now he's asking you for advice. I mean,
It's a big turnaround. Yeah, and I want to acknowledge too that I think the way you have conveyed this program and your authenticity in your approach is what has made it easy to follow. Not easy to do. It's not an easy program. No part of it is easy, but easy to want to commit to, and easy to want to be coachable. Whether it's your original tonal programs that I got to know you through, or reading your book, or getting to know you more directly through the program. I've always felt that what you're conveying and why you're conveying it is, comes from a place of authenticity, and that's crucial. Otherwise, it's marketing. And There's no, science that only you're aware of that you built into this program. It's all out there. And, what you've done is pull it together in a way that it's what you need to know to accomplish this. It is boiled down to the key principles, to the sort of authentic milestones that you want to achieve to get healthy, and it works, and you make it very easy to believe because of that. It never felt like I was being sold something. You have done a great job being a coach. And I really appreciate that. It is not often, I think, at this age, at 47, that you feel like you have life-altering moments that are going to, really affect you for the rest of your life. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I greatly appreciate that. That means a lot to me. I get so much joy and value in my life out of seeing people like yourself accomplish great things. I built my body, my dream body, many, many years ago. And that was fun. That was fulfilling. It helped me break through certain barriers and get to a point. But then it became about trying to help other people do it. Because it's like, well, if I can do it, why can't other people do it? And I just get so much joy. I'm just so passionate. And I'm almost just like desperate to help more people, because I want more people to realize, like you have, that they have more inside them. They could do better. And that all they have to do is, again, like, just commit, take action, and do what they need to do. And you shared a lot of great things that people can do here today and what their potential could be and the outcomes. And you're right about one thing. There's no magic secret formula. It has to be hard, not impossible, but it has to be hard to make the changes for you. But the key thing I like to share, and I've told you this many times, is that it doesn't necessarily get easier. It's that you get so much stronger that it feels easier. So the workout's still hard, but you're so much stronger that you can do it so much better, and it just feels easier. It's not that not eating the donut is not hard. It's just that you built up the discipline and the willpower to be able to look at it and say no. And then it feels easy in the moment, but it's just that you're that much stronger. And then once I started coaching, I took all of these things that I knew kind of generally worked. It was like, I have 700 things I know work. And then I had to kind of factor them down to what's the order of operations, the most logical next step, and how do we kind of order these things so that people get wins and then they build momentum. Because like many coaches at first, I'm just like, all right, here's all the things I'm doing to get results. And people are like, well, that's kind of a lot of stuff. And where do I start? And I don't know how to handle this. And it took me 10 years at least of thinking about this and obsessing about it to figure out, all right, what's the right order of operations, and how do I simplify as much as I possibly can to only the things that matter? And it's still a lot of stuff sometimes, but it's like, here it is. And we're still trying to improve it to this day, but you've done such a great job of executing that. Again, I just want to acknowledge you and thank you so much for your time today and everything you did. Any other advice, things you want to share for people, tips, tricks, tactics, things, breakthroughs that you've learned along your journey?
I would say, the other thing I did while I was trying to get over the hump of actually doing it was I watched a lot of these videos, which is why one of the reasons I'm happy to do one on the other end of it is these videos are great. And if you're vacillating, watch a bunch of them, and you'll see all sorts of different types of people that started in all sorts of different beginning places, all really achieved something. And they'll all, there's different themes and so on, but there's just a constant of starting in a place where you had doubt, you just weren't sure it was going to be achievable, sustainable. It's beyond worth it. You will at the end of it regret not having done it 10 years ago, as you said, but if you make that decision now and you commit, you're not going to regret it.
Our big promise is that we're going to give you the resources, we're going to teach you the skills, help you reinforce the habits, give you the mindset to take the information, put it into action, and of course the accountability to ultimately eventually hold yourself responsible. So then that way, by the time you finish, You'll have everything. You'll know everything you need to do in order to maintain the result for the rest of your life. And hopefully we've done that with you as well. But the other thing that you kind of mentioned there is like, it doesn't end. And that's the interesting thing for a lot of people is that, and that's the exciting thing, is that it doesn't end. It's a journey that you're on, and it's enjoying the process of just improvement and getting better and realizing what your true potential is, because there's always another level. And it's like, oh man, I didn't think I could get to this weight. Like, you get to, I mean, along your journey, it's like you hit 190. Wow, I didn't think I could get there. Wow, now I'm at 180. Now I'm at 177. Holy cow. Like, what else can I do? And then you just stack on there, and it just keeps going and going. I mean, it's amazing once you build momentum in this positive direction, how far it can go, right? So thank you so much for doing that, for doing this. I really do appreciate it. One of the reasons I started doing these interviews was because I wanted to understand my clients and like why they wanted to do this. And I wanted to know what the journey was for them, so I could obviously understand it better, so then I can help coach them better. And the other thing is, like, if you see a lot of coaches and programs or consultants, they have all these testimonials all over their websites, but it's like a 1-minute video of somebody being like, the program's great, it's amazing, you should do it. It's like, well, why? What's the person's journey like? How can I make this more helpful? So even if somebody doesn't join, like, this is adding value somehow. And I love watching these videos too, not just for myself, but also just for the inspiration, the motivation, the education you get from them. So thank you again for doing this. I really do appreciate you, all the hard work, everything. You're an absolute rock star, Ben. And I can't thank you enough for being a part of Action Jackson Fitness. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. It's been great, and I'm looking forward to keeping the journey going.